episode 2 now of Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. We are back with you here yet again. If the clothes look familiar, don't worry about it. It is what it is. I'm Tom Clark, of course. Jay Luft is with me, and also Joe Higgens is here as well. We're going to dive into episode number 2. Right off the bat, guys, what did you think about episode number 1? How do you think everything went? Because I had quite a fun time.
I had a blast. I love the show.
I'm enjoying talking about something that has genuinely moved my soul with people who I think has resonated with equally. It's not hyperbole. Like, Ted Lasso has made me rethink about a lot of things in my life. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, I don't know. But it is one of those things that I don't want to say it's almost a religious moment, but it just shows that you can be a nice person and nice things will happen to you.
I mean, this is what Hollywood can be, opposed to, the glamour and the glitz and the
I kind of want to
insincerity.
see big robots kicking fuck out of each other as well, though. Like,
I mean, but like this is what it can be at its best, and we just don't get a lot of it. Either that or we're not watching it. I don't know.
you know why? Because it's difficult to write.
That's fair.
And I don't know when this is ever going to air, but at the moment there is an ongoing writer strike in America where they're refusing to pay writers a decent living wage for coming up with their stories to film.
Yeah,
like,
ridiculous.
I don't know if you know that, but if it wasn't for writers, the whole industry wouldn't exist. You can only reshoot Pocahontas so many times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to pay writers for their creativity. Oh, we can use AI now. Yeah, let's see how well that goes, mate.
Yeah. AI for very short bursts, for very simple assignments is perfectly fine. It's fine. But for something as comprehensive as a script for a 26 episode season, are you kidding? No, that's not going to happen.
Like,
yeah.
No one remember the it turns out it was fake Harry Potter thing where Ron becomes a spider. Like, it doesn't understand. It can't do hands. AI is not to be trusted.
Well, it's going to rise up and kill us all one day, Jay. I've confided
Hopefully,
this.
and the sooner it gets it, the better, because I'm so tired. So very tired.
Let's just get it over with, would you? Oh, if you're going to do it, do it.
Stop hanging about, because that's unnecessary and cruel.
It's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Skynet.
Yeah, quit. Yeah, Skynet for sure. Hasn't it already activated in terms of timeline?
Sorry, did I say Skynet? I meant GPT. They're definitely two different things.
Oh yeah, they're totally different.
I mean, not to go massively off topic again, but have you seen that the AI art thing? There's so much AI art that it's starting to pull from itself. So it's gradually folding in on itself like a souffle in a cupboard.
One of the latest things that's wild. One of the latest things I've seen about AI as I don't know what to say, as a movement, as a trend, like in terms of search terms, is already massively under what it was 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. It's already dipping. So yeah. I don't think it's going away, but I do think people are going to say, oh, that's fun. What's the next big thing we can all look at? So I do think that's going to happen.
Everyone does it. Like, you AI art your own name, and like, that's it. After that, you go, sweet. Anyway, I'm going to go back to playing like Doom on my phone now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Doom
well,
all the AIs.
As you can tell, kids, this is an AI. None of us are as pretty as Ted Lasso. Well, I don't know about these guys. I'm pretty darn attractive, but no one's quite as pretty as the cast of Ted Lasso. So it is what it is.
If I was young and I cut my chin up, I'd be.
Anyway. That's why I have the beard, so I can hide everything. That's Jay will tell you, just hide everything.
That's because you can grow beards. I've got a hormone disorder.
Is that right? Is that real?
No.
Or are you just messing about? All right. Well,
I just can't grow like a powerful beard.
I love the way you put that. A powerful beard.
Enough to cover my face that doesn't look like I'm a 14-year-old Spanish teenager.
That's awesome. What a great line. We're kicking this episode off in
Anyway,
style with some great writing.
start talking about Ted Lasso.
Who
and not
needs the
about
writers?
my
We're not
weak
striking.
testosterone.
We got great writing right here already. Let's get into it. Ted Lasso, Season 1, Episode 2. Title is Biscuits. Original air date August 14th, 2020. This episode is directed by Zach Braff. Some of you guys may know him. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Story by Brendan Hunt and Jason Sudeikis. And again, as we said on episode 1, there are 10 episodes in Season 1. This is number 2 of Season 1. There you go. We're kicking it off. The episode begins on day 2 from the first episode. So we're going in real time. That's a nice thing. Nice change of pace.
Question.
Yes.
Was it known as cookies in America?
Absolutely.
Fine. Balls to you all. That was a fun joke.
I enjoyed that joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could have done a laugh.
I did laugh.
There was a whole 15 seconds there where nothing happened.
I know. Well, I can't say I totally got it, but I got it when they started calling it Biscuits, and I saw what they had, and I said, well,
Yes,
of course it would be something different.
Biscuits near you are like scones for us, savoury scones.
There you go.
They're a little bit lighter
little
than
floury little
scones.
cakes, sweet cakes.
Scones are quite dense, whereas
They are.
like biscuits are quite like light and fluffy.
We do have scones here, by the way. I'm not a huge
Oh, do you?
fan of them. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're here for sure.
Oh,
I don't know what
are
the
they,
quality
are they
is.
actually scones, or are they like American scones where it's something else entirely? It's the jam jelly. Let's not get into this. Come on. We've Ted Lasso a review, lad.
Well, to be fair, you brought it up. I'm just playing along.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, but I was like, I don't know if Americans understand what scones are. Or whether
We have
because like you've got muffins, and muffins to me are like flat bread, like oven bottom muffins, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but muffins are cakes.
Muffins are cake without icing.
You see what I mean? Like
They are.
It's madness. Like
But then
this is why we
but
should all
then-
learn Esperanto. It'd be so much easier.
we all have English muffins that are the same,
I love English
And then,
muffins.
and then there's English muffins, which are technically bread.
but we call them English muffins as well.
See,
I don't like that.
we can
I
get
just call
along.
them
See?
our muffins.
Oh my. Well,
Mom's
we're kicking this
muffins.
off.
There ain't now so good as an English toasted muffin with a poached egg and some hollandaise sauce on it. Though that's like
Oh yeah.
I could totally eat that. I could totally eat
Eggs
that.
god
Benedict.
tier food. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an egg guy. So this episode begins, part 2. This episode begins on day 2 from the first episode. Ted and Coach Beard meet outside. Ted tells him that it feels like the first day of school, which is great because you know what it feels like, first day of school. It's a little thing. They have constant little inside jokes between the two of them. Beard says he's a little nervous. His heck yeah, no such thing as last day jitters. We also have to mention the cereal. Is that real? What I saw when Ted poured, is that a real thing over there?
That is shredded wheat.
Yep.
That big?
Yeah.
That is
You
nuts.
You can get miniature ones. They do a bite-sized version, but
That's
like,
what's over here.
Shredded wheat is bite size. It's just because your American mouths are smaller? Question mark.
what it
I don't
is?
know.
Yeah,
I
'cause there's-
top secret tips coming out now, but from the ages of 6 till about 13, all I ate was cereal. Right? My mum would make me meals, and I would just go and eat cereal because I read on the back of the box that it said contains like 30% of your recommended daily allowance. So I was like, well, I have to eat 4 bowls of that to get my full allowance of it.
Mm.
I was
Makes sense.
smart or deluded as a child, and so my cereal knowledge is unparalleled. But you can fit shredded wheat
a big.
that size.
Yeah.
Did you guys grow up with the sugar cereals with the toy inside the bag too?
Yeah, like we do have them. Not as much anymore because
They got rid of ricicles.
I used to love bicycles.
Rice-icles.
They're like
I'm trying to think
they're-
what your equivalent of them is.
they're
Like
Like Rice
like
Krispies.
sugar coat.
like Rice
sugar-coated
Krispies, but
Rice
sugar coated.
Krispies.
Oh,
They're
They'll
good.
probably go under another name.
rice.
I'm trying to think if they do.
I like that.
I'm struggling to think. because maybe it's one of the few ones they didn't interrupt
They're
with.
essentially
Because like there's
just
cornflakes,
frosted
and
Rice Krispies.
America doesn't tend to fuck with cornflakes.
Cornflakes are cornflakes, man.
Yeah, but you got like Frosties.
You mean Frosted Flakes?
Yeah,
Has it got a tiger on the box?
Yes.
Right.
They're great.
Okay, they're Frosties here. Right. Yeah,
we call
they're
them Frosties
they're
here.
okay. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good joke. Let's take a moment to let's take a moment to acknowledge the
Cereals
relationship
from around the world.
I know, right?
Oh,
To acknowledge the relationship between Beard and Ted. This is like one of the major backbones of this story, isn't it? How great these guys are together.
I love that you don't find out the whole kind of like reasoning behind it until so late in the series. Like,
and it's
like
too late for you to do anything about it because you're already in love with them.
It's like the penultimate episode, isn't it? You find out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I think, because you're already invested in the characters and you already love them.
Yeah.
When you find out that, it just makes it all the more like kind of like it makes you love them even more somehow.
But isn't that the point of the show? Like I said before, was that everyone is redeemable.
Yeah.
No matter what you are, who you are, everyone can be saved. And I'm not saying by Christ, but it is just that thing because I genuinely gasped at the bit where Beard tells his story.
Oh, same, yeah.
Because I thought they were just like college buddies or someone who had grown up living in each other's pockets. And at this point, you think they are because they have this almost like sixth sense around each other. Like they know what the other person is going to say. And that's not bad writing. That's incredibly good writing because it's incredibly well acted by the actors. But yeah, it's there's just no such thing as last day jitters.
That's a great line.
And it's a great line because then they just walk off. It's beautiful.
It is. They see outside a guy singing in the square, which that'll come back. Again, they like to pay things off, which is nice. This is Cam Cole. I don't know if any of you guys are into Cam Cole's music, but after I heard him on Ted Lasso, I had to go download the album. It's really good stuff. I like the guy quite a bit. Yeah. He's a singer-songwriter, busker, and new age traveler from London, UK, who roams around performing on streets and venues as his one-man band show influenced by folk, Delta blues, grunge, and rock and roll, which is, when you hear the guy, you're like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's exactly what he is. Yeah. He also, at this point, Ted, for the first time, sees Soccer Girl, the character never gets a real name. The actress is Shannon Hayes. It is interesting to you guys. They never, because I'm trying to think 2 or 3 episodes ahead now, but they never really pay off Shannon, do they? They never really pay off Soccer Girl in any meaningful way. It just kind of sits there. Do we ever see her again?
I think she comes back in one of the episodes where Ted's going to therapy on the bike.
Yeah,
but
she shows up every now and again, but she doesn't show up that often.
No, it is. I think it's something that they were trying to do and then either forgot about or something happened, and they just walked away from it. And it's fine, but at this point, it feels like that's going to be something that comes up later on.
Yeah, I mean that there is something that's kind of mentioned in the last episode that could potentially, if they were to do another season or a spin-off, could play into that. But obviously, right now on the second episode, she feels like a much bigger deal than what she ends up being.
Yeah, because you kind of believe she's going to become something later for sure.
Especially at the end of this episode where,
they spend a lot of time putting a lot of emphasis on it.
Ted drops his bag and like is doing like kickabouts with her.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly racking my brains now, and I think we see her in passing in a couple of like end shots because they went, "Oh, we started this, then we never finished it," but we want to pay homage to the people that cared about it. Like, It's not massively important, but it's just him, Ted, like just ingratiating himself with the world around him, which is what Ted does. That's how he gets the lay of the land. That's how he understands what the vibe on the street is.
To him, everybody's got value. Everyone he meets has value.
Everyone has a story to tell, and everyone's story is worth telling.
Yes.
And Ted is the man that will sit there and buy you a drink and listen to it.
Let's talk about. Go ahead.
Go on. No. Go on.
I was going to say, because I'm anxious to talk about this. Biscuits with the Boss becomes one of my favorite things in this show. With Ted and Rebecca. Oh my God. And we don't get the story behind it till the end of the episode. And when you see the end of the episode, you're like, this guy Ted is way more complex than I ever would have given him credit for. Like he seems to be on the surface like the Ned Flanders from Simpsons. Every time I see his picture, I think Ned Flanders from the Simpsons. Where he's like a goody two shoes or whatever. Flanders. Yeah, it's like a goody two shoes. But then you get the end. It's a great twist, man.
Hello.
Yeah.
No, but again, I've heard people say, well, this shows that this is Ted being controlling and like Machiavellian with it because he's put something in the biscuits that like makes Rebecca like bow to his control. And I'm like, mate, they're just biscuits. That's really good biscuits. And literally, he says at one point, "Oh, so that's the recipe that I'll be sticking with now." Like he's not dosing them with weed and shit, or he's not putting fucking crystal meth in them. He's just making really nice shortbread-looking biscuits, man.
Was that a fan theory when this came? Because I didn't know that.
I've read so much since we agreed to start doing this. I went, I'm gonna go and start going down the dark rabbit holes of this because that's where my brain goes. And I was like, boo, you're all rotters. Like, can people just not exist?
It's all about the friendship, not about. And Ted wanting to get back to his wife and his family.
And that men and women can be friends together without any ulterior motives.
Yes, it's not impossible. Not impossible.
Also, they both kind of like helped each other get through a traumatic experience. He helped her get through a divorce. She helped him get through his marriage falling apart. Like it shouldn't have ever been about them having like some kind of romantic interest.
It was never there.
No, it was never there. You're 100% right. Yeah. Anyone that thinks otherwise is just delusional. I don't.
Ted did, I think, 2 sexes on Rebecca's friend, who I hate as well.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't like her. Yeah. The fact that as a grown person, she still calls her stinky. Like,
well, that's fair.
In front of other professional people. It just, you know what I mean?
She's very much like a childhood friend who, like,
he
bumps into every now and again, and she's like, oh, shit, here we go.
Well, she invites her to stuff, and, like, she kind of wants to accept that chaos into her life. And, again, that's why I can't hate Rebecca for the choices that she makes.
Well, what's great is with this biscuits thing is his point of all this for her, and we find out what it becomes later, what the backstory is here. But at the time, he just says, can't be good partners unless we get to know each other. And then he follows it up. And by the way, she loves these biscuits. Let's make a note of that. Loves them. He follows up with first concert, best concert. She answers the Spice Girls for both. And he answers Kenny Rogers and starts singing The Gambler to her.
Yep.
So good. And gets the line, was it know when to walk away? Know when to? She goes, stop. It just stops him. It's so
know
good,
when
man.
to walk away.
Yeah. Know when to walk away, know when to stop. Yeah.
And it's a really lovely little bit.
It is.
The fact that both Rebecca's are the Spice Girls, which I'm assuming was the start of the Spice Girls when it was still like girl power. And the end of it, when it was bitter women fighting over fucking royalties. Like,
I feel
not
I feel
just
like
me. Just me who got that. Oh no.
No, I got it. I feel like it might even be more kind of symbolic of the fact that obviously she gave her life away for Rupert. Like, she went to see the Spice Girls. Maybe it was that gig because that was the only gig she went to of like her own kind of like choosing.
That's good.
Deep cut. I love that.
That's lovely.
Like that.
Yeah.
That was like pre-Rupert. Like she went, oh yeah, I really want to see the Spice Girls. I went to see the Spice Girls.
And then when they did the
Then she
reunion
met
tour, it was
Rupert.
like,
oh, don't worry about that.
$2,000 a ticket. Yeah.
But then like meeting Rupert, she only went and did things he wanted to do.
This is why this is beautiful, man. I'm learning things
great.
that I never thought about. Yeah.
That's what I kind of took from it anyway, because it's the fact that she didn't even think about it. She went, oh, it's Spice Girls and Spice Girls.
But do you not think that might just be her dismissing Ted straight out? Like, I don't want you here.
To a degree, but there was almost a bit of like vulnerability about her when she said it. Like the fact that it took her, like she genuinely like stopped to think about it as opposed to just going, look, Ted, I'm too busy to talk about this.
She has moments of vulnerability with him where she can't help herself.
Massively lets her guard down around him all the time.
I was going to say, after that first episode, like you said before in the first episode, when he opens up that chink in her armor, how are you doing though? And he just gets that. He gets that in under the blade, like under the plate, and he's just chipping it, and not in a horrible way to cause her harm, but just to get to the person that's underneath it. And oh man, see, this is mind blowing for me because I've never thought of it that way.
The whole kind of thing as well, like early on in the show, which is kind of like the underlying theme, is Ted is trying to unite the team, but by uniting everybody and getting everybody working together on the same page. Like I'm saying, so look, it would mean like we need to get to know each other better. And like when later on when he brings them the cake up and he goes, oh look, it really mean a lot to the guys if you just came down and shown your face and stuff like that. It's like all he's trying to do is get everyone like united and working together to improve everything.
As a team.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, imagine, he's from the first episode, the Wichita State Shockers, right? In his first season, he took them to the championship that year. If he knew soccer, I mean, what's the possibility they would have won in the first season? You see what I'm saying? He knows football.
Again, that's the one thing that kind of grinds on me a little bit is that Ted would have done a bit of research on it. He's not going to just take a job that he knows nothing about.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't know. I think like, you could kind of like with the whole wanting to give his wife space stuff and stuff like that. It could have just been like an impulsive decision. I'm
sure that Rebecca would have offered him a pretty sweet package.
Oh yeah. Well, it could have literally just been like an impulsive decision. He's like, my marriage is falling apart. I need to give my wife some space.
Here's
an opportunity for me to go across the world and do something completely out of my comfort zone. And it, at the same time, it allows me to give her some space. Like it feels
and give my experience to a team that need it.
It feels like a kind of like a cross of Ted being too naive, thinking that it's like massively transferable, that he can coach the way he coached any sport. But also,
to be fair, all sport is the same, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's just different rules and tactics, isn't it? But
just run fast and catch the ball, jeez, or don't catch the ball here.
It feels like Ted's kind of like done that, but also like had a knee-jerk reaction going, all right, I need to give her space. This opportunity's come up. It's halfway across the world. That'll do. And he's just trying to make it the whole thing work. But it is a really, like, as I say, it's a really good kind of like precedent he set early with Ted's whole thing is, I'm here to unite the team.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, we know the Biscuits thing is going to keep up, so we know that, and he and Rebecca are just really getting started in this relationship, I'll call it. When we see Ted and Beard on the sideline, Ted is obviously anxious. You have a conversation about boots, which is great. So again, differences between what we call them here and what you guys call them there. He says, "What happens if I get fired for putting cleats in the trunk of a car?" And Beard says, "You got the boot for putting boots into the boot," which is great.
One of those great little jokes about just the foibles of the English language. Yeah,
absolutely.
What are crampons?
What are what?
Crampons.
They're like climbing boots, aren't they?
I remember reading a Perishers book. Do you remember Perishers? And they make a joke about that, about football boots being like crampons.
They're like
I never understood what crampon.
Crampons are like the rock climbing boots that you use to kind of like dig into the surface of the rock when you're like climbing.
Okay, so they got like spiky bits on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, like
thanks.
Never heard of it.
No, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm learning here for some things for sure.
I feel like I've had that conversation before. I just can't think when. Which is why I had an instant answer to what crampons were.
We get the later on one, don't we, as well? Well, it's not the boot in the boot in the boot. Yeah,
it's something else. It takes a long time too.
It's one of those jokes that I really love that has a very long, protracted setup.
Yeah,
and then a very long explanation. It's not even a joke; it's just a thing, but it is a joke. Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it. I'm gonna have to find it now because it's so good.
And Brendan Hunt as Beard is, I mean, the straight man of straight men. Like basically, there's two straight men here, which you don't find a lot in comedy. Brendan Hunt and Jason Sudeikis both. I mean, if either one of these guys is the character, it's Ted, but he's not so much of a character that he's, Costello. He's not Lou Costello. He's not fall down stupid.
But that's great writing. You're making no one person your straight man and your joke guy. I don't know what the word for it is. It's you can have them bounce around. You can have that flip 4 times in a conversation, and no one knows where it's coming from. Then
I like that,
and no one knows which bit is supposed to be the joke because all of it is the joke. Like it's just it's kind of like the Who's on First.
Yes. When's the last time you've seen that? Because that bit holds up to this day. It is hilarious.
Because it's just wordplay and puns.
Great.
Like I showed it my wife the other week because I was talking to her about it and she was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's so good.
And I found a version of it that they'd done. And she laughed. But I guess it's all in the delivery.
Yeah.
Because you have to get more agitated as it goes on, sort of thing. And I can't remember who it was I started doing it, but it was on YouTube. It was probably Alan Carr or somebody.
We also get here our first glimpse of how good Jamie is when he crosses up Sam and leaves him on the pitch, and then Ted has to give him a Tedism when he says, "You know what the happiest animal on earth is? The goldfish. You know why? Got a 10-second memory. Be a goldfish, Sam." And they're both just like this. Okay, go ahead. And then he's like, go, it just like no one knows how to take Ted in the beginning.
But
they don't know if he's messing with them or
Jamie walks past him.
He does.
And doesn't pick him up.
Yeah.
And Roy comes over and picks him up.
True.
Yeah. Jamie says he's like buried Sam there.
Yeah.
And then Sam looks really kind of like crestfallen.
Yeah.
And then Roy like instantly like kind of like shows like he's the leader, obviously, and like runs over and like shoves Jamie and goes, piss off, leave him alone.
Captain. So he's got to show some discipline in this team. And to be fair, like Roy does, but his discipline is through fear and intimidation.
I feel like throughout certainly through the first series, Roy and Sam have quite like it's almost like Roy's obviously seen that see again, he can relate to Sam because he talks about when he like was younger and when he was a kid and he went from like London to Sunderland, which for anyone who doesn't know, that's like literally like Sunderland's like the northeast of England. It's like it's
a million miles away, mate.
Yeah, it's as far away as you could go. So to go as a teenager there, and he says obviously like he found it really hard and he was crying because he like every night because he missed home, and it toughened him up. And obviously he sees something of that in Sam because Sam's very young. I think they say he's only like 20, and he's from Nigeria. He's moved to England, miles away from home, and I think Roy can kind of relate in that, and he knows how hard it is to be away from home and away from his loved ones at such a young age, and that he didn't have anyone really there to kind of like be a support system. So he's in a way trying to be the support system for him, but at the same time still kind of show off this kind of tough like
It's
exterior.
still got to be Roy.
Yeah,
It's still got to be Roy fucking Kent.
I think the thing with Roy is he's always an inherently good man, and he just doesn't like showing it because he perceives it as weakness. And obviously, the more the series progresses, the more he's like, well, actually, I'm okay to be supportive to people I care about. I just need to stop thinking of it as being a negative thing.
I need to learn how to do it as well.
Yeah. I think
Roy is one of those characters that is very much like, everyone knows someone like that. It's probably your dad.
And I think this is one of the reasons why people are hopeful there'll be a spinoff because it doesn't feel like we've dug. It feels like we could dig more with Roy, and it wouldn't be, well, we got to do a spinoff. Let's write something. It feels like there's so much more there that they could tap into they haven't tapped into yet.
Question: Do we need to?
I don't
think I need.
I don't think
any
we need
more.
to.
Whatever we're gonna get is gonna dilute what is already there. What is in my brain is better
fair.
Than what they can ever produce.
That's fair.
I know. It's like Roy Kent is basically Roy Keane, isn't he, Jay? Yeah. That's a UK football reference there.
Yeah.
Tick one of those boxes for Joe. But it's just like you have to just be hard on the pitch all the time.
Yeah. He can't show any kind of like vulnerability.
Well, we know that's
how it was back then, though. Like, if you look at it, we were saying about not Roger Taylor, because he's the drummer from Queen.
Brian Clough. Yeah, it's
like Vinnie Jones got a career out of being a shit but hard football player.
Yeah, that's very true.
And honestly, there are some parallels here with American football as well. There are, and with American baseball too, where he's a man's man, he's grizzled, he's tough. He's got to defend himself in the bar fights like old pro wrestlers. You know what I mean? And then mixing Roy's past with ball players of today who are, they still got to be tough, but it's 2023, man. It can't be 1980 anymore. You got to move forward.
Question: do you have that in like American football and stuff like that? People are just going, my time has passed, I'll hand the torch on to the new person?
I mean, you do
with football and baseball and lacrosse. I guess that's one of your other sports.
Oh, well, not like you'd think. Over here in the States, it's football, basketball, and baseball, and hockey. But yeah,
I like hockey. Yeah.
I'm not a huge hockey guy, but the idea is like you got younger players with a veteran or two who, they will learn from those veterans. So in that way, passing the torch, eventually I'll be traded or eventually I'll retire. But in the meantime, I'll drop my knowledge here and help Because like the formula for a great team in the NBA, for example, if you got all 5 starters who were very young, chances are they'll have flashes of brilliance, but they're not going to win many games. But if you have of the 5 starting lineup of the NBA team, 2 of them are veterans, or maybe even just one, there's a chance there because you've got youth, speed, and energy with a veteran who when the whistle blows for timeout can get in their face and say, "You screwed up."
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's a real thing for sure.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, that translates over into British stuff.
You kind of get it in football, but then like obviously with football as well, there's the whole thing of when a player gets to a certain age, they do just kind of get shipped off to a lower division team or something like that, as opposed to kind of like getting the whole like, oh yeah, you still have stuff to contribute. A lot of the time, it is just kind of like they're just put out to pasture to a different team.
Yeah, there are some parallels here, but there's going to be some differences too. But I like when things kind of sync up. I'm a fan of that. So we know that during this scene here, we hear a little bit about Sam because Ted's curious. Basically, Nate says he's been underachieving since coming from Nigeria, and Ted wants to do something to cheer him up. And then, of course, we get Rebecca telling Higgins her plan may not work because Ted is so nice. Actually, I think Higgins tells Rebecca Ted is so nice and his players love him.
No. Oh, is this not the bit where Ted comes in and he's like, me and Higgins are having salads. And as Ted walks away, Higgins goes, "I'll see you later."
Oh, and Ted
comes running back in. And he uses the phrase that I've started using a lot. High five 3. And high five that weird nose rack she's got there. It's a beautiful
I love when he bursts in because like
it's
everyone.
Scary.
Again, watching it with my housemates, it was that bit where Olivia was just like, "This is beautiful. I love this." Just because the joy on his face as he comes back in, and he knows that someone's got him on that level.
Yeah.
It's a really lovely thing to watch.
It almost feels like the kind of like first time that Ted sort of feels at home.
Yes,
because again, it's someone who he realizes he can immediately relate to. Because
who is it? It's Higgins. It's Higgins. It's Higgins. Yeah,
English Ted.
English Ted.
Yeah, we're gonna get a. Is he the English Ted? I would say, yeah. Actually, yeah. But we're gonna get a birthday party for Obasanya. Just to celebrate him, like he realizes he's on his own, and that's why he's having a tough time with it.
Yeah,
and he gets the party. He gets the party before the game, and then gets the cake and the dancing after the game.
But we also get Nate handing out the box that he's made.
Yeah,
to put donations in.
And Ted flips out over both these. I was like, "Oh, look at this!"
Because he's asked him to just bring a box.
Yeah,
and he's my niece loves crafts, which
there's
again pays off later on.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a really nice line where Ted goes, "Well, I'm getting a real good look into your personal life, and I'm here for it."
Yeah,
it's just like it just like shows that he wants to get to know everyone who works with him, everyone who's on everyone under the roof of that AFC Richmond. Ted feels like he needs to kind of like
bring them under his umbrella.
Develop some kind of a rapport with them because that's how he builds like this whole like kind of like empire that he has.
I wouldn't say empire because that sounds like dictatorial.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a sports.
Yeah, I'm struck. But I get what you're saying. But it is just this thing, and like everyone puts some money in the box, and Jamie puts his chewing gum in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was for Sam's birthday thing when Ted actually pulls him to one side, doesn't he? And he's like, almost like a disappointed dad, which I think is what we learn about Jamie later. Yeah. It's why it doesn't really kind of like
work
because he's like, "Jamie, I've just seen you do that. Why would you do that?" And Jamie's like, "Please don't." Like, "Look, I'll get better." And you can tell straight away Jamie's full of shit.
It's
He
one.
is.
He thinks he's better than them. That's the rub with it. He knows that he's better than them. Like, he is better than them, but he is the star player.
Yeah,
It's
But
true.
without everyone else setting you up,
he's very kind
you've
of
got
like
no one else left to come back to.
he's very sort of well portrayed as like a kind of a wonder kid player who's got too much too soon.
It does begrudge me that he's got a Mancunian accent as well, though.
Yeah, I feel like he's like, because he's like played for City as well, and City are a big team. It's like,
Yeah.
That's why, because obviously, for someone who has like kind of like a very like loose understanding of football, to see that he's like obviously come from their youth academy and he's going to break into their team, it shows. It kind of like shows to like a layman how talented he is without having to kind of like break it down.
I was going to say, we didn't get into that in the previous episode, is that, a lot of places will have, where their training ground is, they will have like a youth academy where they bring in young players to train for that team, and then they will play for that team.
Nice.
And that's what Jamie trained at Manchester City.
Yeah.
His dad is a Manchester City fan, as we find out later on. And he has come to Richmond. Why did he go to Richmond?
He's gone to Richmond on loan from City. So essentially, like, one of the things in football is that if you've got like young players, or not, it doesn't necessarily have to be a young player, but usually it is like a young player who you haven't got they're not quite ready for the first team, but you want them to get experience. You'll loan them out to like a lower like team in like a lower league, or in a different league, or lower in your league, just so they can get a bit of experience playing at that level to then improve. And that's why Jamie's at Richmond, because he's essentially been loaned out from City. He knows he's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a little shit.
He is, and there's parallels too. Not in terms of him being a little shit, but in the States, man. Not for like especially NBA. I was using an example. The great players became great because they learned how to pass the ball. And every time I see Jamie here, that's what happens. Like, all right, keep showboating, keep scoring your goals. Did your team win? No, they didn't. So what are you celebrating for?
Again, you've basically ruined the rest of the show.
It's true.
But that's what Jamie needs to learn. That it's a team. You function as a unit. You function as a team. And at this point, Jamie doesn't have that. He still thinks he's king. He knows he's king shit.
True.
Because he can do whatever he wants, and no one pulls him up on it.
I think as well, with him not being like kind of with him being on loan at the club and not being like actually being signed to the club, that he's kind of got the whole chip on his shoulder that he's like, well, it only matters for me to be as good as I can be and make myself look good. So when I go back to my parent club, I'm going to be like the big deal. It's not a case of him thinking, oh yeah, if I'm good for the team and the team's good, they're gonna think I'm good, because he's young and naive. He thinks I just need, like when they're like reading down the score, and he's like, it'd be 4-0 if it wasn't for my goal, and then they say it was a pointless goal. He's like, thank you, you've acknowledged me. It's like, yeah, it's still a meaningless goal. Like it just adds to his
also question. Not to move on, but would you be a panda or a lion?
I love how they didn't tell you what all this
bit.
even meant. You didn't get the payoff.
It's just one of those good things. Would you be a panda or a lion?
Yeah.
Be a panda.
I think I'd be a panda. Like,
aren't pandas supposedly savage? Aren't they like, you don't screw with the panda, he'll tear you up?
Isn't the bears, so like they've got massive claws and shit, but they're also like kind of rubbish as an animal.
The sleepy bears.
But,
But I feel
it's one of those things. It's one of those bits.
if one of them attacked you, you'd be fucked.
It's one of those bits. If one of those bits, if one of those again, this was one of those sections of the show where I was like, there's no explanation as to what's happening.
Right.
Keely comes out of a car
Yeah.
and just goes to Ted, would you be a panda or a lion?
Right.
And I was like, yeah.
I love as well, like, this comes straight off the back of like that dead awkward bit where Ted's holding the door for Rebecca, and he even mentioned she's like,
it's a long time to hold the door, Ted.
Yeah,
but I thought you needed it.
Yeah, even mentions like, oh yeah, well, you slowed down, but that's fine.
I mean, I feel like if you're a lion, you're Bill Goldberg. Like you got to stay in that shape. You have to hit the gym. You got to do. I feel like it'd be exhausting to be a lion. You've got to prove this. You got to do this. A panda, you just hang out, like you said, take a nap, chill. Yeah.
But I think later on there is a bit in the background where someone says, "Don't pandas have to eat like a load of bamboo?" It's just one of those things that it does pay off, but it's just one of those non sequiturs, which is really beautiful.
It's another thing as well, though, where like Rebecca's obviously trying to kind of like act like really indifferent to Ted. And then obviously like Ted and Keely are having that conversation, and Rebecca's like almost like downright offended that Ted would say he'd be a panda.
Yeah.
And like she's like she
says they're piss soaked fucking tree monkeys or something.
Yeah.
And
they're fat and they're lazy.
And Ted takes it.
Yeah.
And she said, when she says, "What's black and white, red all over?" Ted goes, "What?" Like he can't wait to hear the punchline.
And she just says, "A panda that's been mauled by a lion." It's like, oh shit, okay. But then again, it it goes from one kind of like person with their own kind of like not necessarily ego, and with Rebecca, I think she's just kind of like I think with her, when she's like says that, it's almost like she's trying to like put up like a defense mechanism to show she's a lion. And then when
she literally tears them both apart in the car park, and then gets in her car and drives off.
Yeah, because Keely's indifferent, isn't she, about it?
Keely doesn't care. Keely doesn't understand the gravitas of the situation that she's involved in.
But then when she asks Jamie as well, and Jamie's like, "I don't need to be either, I'm me."
Yeah.
And it just sums up like what kind of a like ego Jamie is. But then the fact that Keely and Ted both go, "Oh, he's a lion."
And what's funny is Jamie says it like he's an idiot. It's the way it comes out, you know. Well, coach on me. Why would I, you know? And Ted's like, I'm not sure you realize how psychologically healthy that is.
That is the line there. Like Jamie knows who he is.
Yes.
He is Jamie fucking Tart. Right?
When Jamie says cheers and Ted says night court. It's another one of those little throwaway jokes. Did you catch it? Because I was like, did he say night court? I missed that the first time I saw them. Jeez.
Yeah. You do also then see like Rebecca kind of realizing that Ted and Keely have kind of like hit it off. Like, I think one thing that kind of like goes,
because they're like two toddlers just having conversations.
Well, I think one thing that kind of goes unnoticed as well is obviously like maybe not unnoticed, but is that Ted's obviously like trying to make friends with people because he doesn't know anyone except Beard. And he wants everyone to like, he wants to be friends with everyone anyway. But obviously, this early on, the only people he knows, like the only person he knows is Beard, and obviously, Beard wants to do whatever Beard does after they've like had a day of training. So it's Ted kind of like trying to build up like new relationships with people at this point.
That's why after the pilot in this, I think him and Keely have already got that. Like after you've adjusted someone else's sign, you've already kind of locked in with that person.
Yeah,
but
even
I your point is valid, but I think that's what Rebecca sees here is that he's got that relationship with someone
Yeah.
who she has always thought of as just like a tart, like
Mhm.
a little, a bit of fluff that hangs around near the footballers. And later on, she gets her eyes opened massively to it. But yeah,
And plus, Ted is
Yeah.
probably one of the few guys that she can talk to who's not looking at her as he's talking to her, because he's
I
not
was about
checking
to
her out.
say we didn't touch on this, did we, in the first episode when Ted's like decorating the like the locker room, and Jamie's got the topless picture of her in his like thing, and he puts
oh
the tape
shit,
over
yeah,
her boobs,
he
and
does.
she goes to get his phone, like, and she goes in and she kind of like sees what Ted's done because she sees
Yep.
Ted leaning over it,
Yep.
and she thinks he was being like a bit of a
Pervy.
creep. And then when she realized what he's done, she kind of like smiles as if to say, "Oh, that's really nice that he doesn't just see me as like a body;
Tits.
he sees
Yeah.
me as a person."
God. We could spend thousands of hours dissecting this. We really
Yeah.
could, because there's so much nuance in this, and
Oh,
it's
it's great.
it's a show that's on TV that for us and not for like special boys.
Yeah.
But we get into after that
The suggestion box in it in the
The
pub.
suggestion box. They're at the pub, and he's taking them
I-
out. The first one, I love when he reads them. He goes, "Wanker." All right, piss
I
off,
kind of just
wanker.
wanted to hear you say wanker a lot. To be honest,
I'm just saying, it's so good.
no, it's just always heartening to hear an American say wanker in an American accent.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Because you haven't got that inflection, wanker. You can't
Wanker.
get
You
that.
got to put
Wanker.
some oomph on it. Yeah.
You've got to like
Yeah.
put a hard K on it. Wanker.
So wanker's not like asshole. It's like dickhead, more or less, right? Isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, I'd say it's like kind of like asshole.
Or dumbass? Is it dumbass?
No, it's not. It's just it's wanker, isn't it? It's like,
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
man, I don't know. The subtleties of the English language are really lost to me at this point, because swearing is one of those things that we're really good at,
We are good at it.
and
It's ingrained in our
wanker isn't
culture.
even that hard a swear. Like,
No,
they could have
I'd
gone harder.
I'd say it's like I'd say it's our version of like arsehole or
It
like
would
on
be,
a level.
What with the wrestling chant? It would be arsehole. Yeah, arsehole.
Yeah.
It would be that version.
Yeah,
of it.
because we do chant wanker.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What
Yeah,
about?
I love when May explains it to him, and Ted's like, "I'm a visual learner."
Yeah, she does the hand gesture. Like, don't let him call you that, Ted. It's not good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but then again,
I also love the fact that May lets them eat in her pub and drink and leaves them alone.
Mm.
Doesn't hassle them. Doesn't let what they call Tom, Dick, and Harry come over and hassle him. Like, she's got control of her pub.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think as well though, one little bit of foreshadowing that does is obviously later on when Ted has that chat with Jamie, and then Jamie does it to him, and Ted sees it in the mirror. He knows exactly what Jamie means. He knows.
Yes.
And he's just, but you see in Ted's face, he looks disappointed.
He does look disappointed. Yeah.
He thought he got through.
Yeah. It's almost like he's like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot. And it's great. One of my favorite things from his suggestion box is when he says, "I hope you choke on a Big Mac," and Beard says, "Oh, it's a good job these things are anonymous." And then Ted goes, "No, Roy signed that."
Roy signed that. But then we get
Beard's like,
one genuine thing, and it's the water pressure sucks.
Yeah.
And Ted, next day, Ted's out in the showers going, and he presses the button for the shower to come on, and he's like, "This is weak." And like, I think he says it takes one thing to make a difference.
Yeah.
Nothing's too small for him. He knows that doing something as simple as shower pressure, and it is, again, like you said earlier, planting seeds plants the seed in the player's mind. Like, he didn't have to fix that. Wait a minute, maybe he's, and then it gets him to thinking.
But it's the thing that he cares about what his players,
right?
What his players' gripes are. Everyone can write wanker and put it in the box, but one genuine person. We don't know who it was.
Roy Kent.
It was Roy. It was obviously Roy. Yeah,
because all he does in the first 2 episodes is
have showers.
Yeah, it's tell people to fuck off and have showers.
Yeah, so it was people think it was Roy put his rage into that first one, Ronald choking a Big Mac, and then he thought, actually, he's made some differences around here
as well. Like, the thing is, like, which is great about it is obviously when Ted like brings a suggestion box out, and Roy's the first person to criticize him, like saying, "We've lost 3 games on the run, and you're asking us what snacks we want in the locker room." And Ted's like, "I just want to improve the atmosphere. Like, you don't have to put anything in it," sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously Roy puts something abusive in, but then also puts some thought like, well, this would improve this for me. And the thing is, like, that's not
so good.
It's not
these
something
little
that's in,
nuggets of things being fed through.
Yeah, it's not something that's in like Ted's like job role either. Like, his whole job is just to coach the team. He shouldn't be like going, "Oh, we need the water pressure fixing in the showers." That's
if he can go,
Higgins'
mate,
job.
why is there a big clamp on this water pipe? Shit, everyone gets hot showers now.
Yeah,
it's just like a really beautiful thing. And now that you put that, it was Roy in my head. It's beautiful. It makes it all more better.
It does.
Well, it's the only reason I say it was definitely Roy, other than the fact that he's the only person who's consistently going to shower, is that when he goes in the shower and like the water pressure's like been fixed, and he has that moment where he like, if just like, oh my god, he actually did it. Like, a realization, oh, he's going to listen to what I have to say, and he actually
And that's the moment where I thought that, like, Roy would be back on Ted's side.
Oh, yeah, that's what won Roy over, 100%.
But it isn't.
But then when Colin walks up in the sheet, he doesn't expect it. Bang!
Watch out for the water pressure, son.
The best part of that is Roy lets him do it and then goes, "Gaffer's fixed the showers."
Yeah. Obviously.
Which again, the fact that Roy says the Gaffer's fixed the showers kind of like, for me, locked in. Well, obviously Roy's the guy who asked about it.
Because he didn't call him.
Okay, yeah, I give you that. Yeah,
because he didn't say like the water pressure's been fixed. He said Ted has fixed the showers.
Yep, true.
Which obviously kind of like
legitimized.
Again, it shows that Roy feels heard by the whole situation.
Well, let's see. We get Soccer Girl here again for a very short scene. We referenced that one earlier, I believe. Rebecca's back on the Biscuits again. She's trying to get Higgins to find out where he got them. And then Ted comes in, and you hear him as he opens the door. And I got this reference immediately. What time is it? It's Biscuit with the Boss time. Whoo! So that is Michael Jordan in his heyday with Chicago Bulls. Every time before a game, they would huddle up and they'd talk. And one of them would say, "What time is it?" And the other guy would go, "Game time." Whoo! And they would all do it, and they'd go out to play. So there's so many sports references peppered in here. I love it.
That ties into when Ted has like the kind of like penny dropping moment with his tactics, where he's watching a Bulls game. He's like, "Oh yeah, I used to watch this game with my dad all the time."
Yes.
And like, that's a lovely bit of foreshadowing. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it ties in.
Yeah. First of all, those biscuits look great. Like, they really do.
They look decadent. You know what I mean?
I'm a sucker for shortbread because they're just so tasty.
They're good. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get some of them tomorrow. I love that Ted just picks up his conversation.
Yeah, like
she told him to stop, so it's literally like He's not stopped. He's hit pause, and then he's back in the conversation.
And that's Ted, though, isn't it? He's like, okay, I've got all of these things that I need to put to you to get to know you.
Yeah.
And then we can be friends. I'll be friends with you as well, but until I know about, your first gig, your last gig, your most tragic American terrorist action that's happened on American soil, he's all of it. He's there for it.
And then Rebecca tells him I can't just have you waltzing in here whenever you want. He goes, what about if I soft shoe in? And he starts doing the dance. Oh, that's so good, man.
He's got a good moonwalk on him as well.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
He has.
I think this is when he leaves out of the building, and we get the me and Higgins are gonna go and have a salad for lunch, and Higgins just I'll see you later. And Ted stomps back in.
So great.
But then he high five Tree. I do that a lot in my actual life.
It's the fact that he goes in and he's just like dead intense in the boat shots. Like, I love that.
but all the way through this scene as well, there's the moments where Rebecca is like, I'm in over my head.
Yeah, she got more than she bargained for.
Because she's trying to get Higgins to find out where he's got these delicious biscuits from.
Yeah.
As well, and is it this point? Is it she's spitting them out into a bin? Like
no. Oh yeah. Sorry,
filthy sommelier. Yeah,
because Ted brings his ones in.
Yeah,
and then
he keeps bringing them in every day.
And Ted's not going to tell her where he got them or that he's making them, because then it'll be over.
It's like as well, like she'll have a taste of them, and she'll kind of transport her away to somewhere else.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Is that
she's like eating the biscuits, and she's like, no, I don't like that one. I don't like that one. And she has one of Ted's, and she just kind of stops and just enjoys it.
And that's never explained, but I just think it's because it's something that is made with just pure love, and
I feel like it's something that's so personal to her that it shouldn't be explained though.
But I think they try to explain it later on.
They do, yeah, for sure.
But
they do circle back.
Does she find out that it's Ted baking them ever?
I don't think she ever found out.
I don't think she finds out that, no.
Unless she does in the last episode, and that's why she goes so hard to keep them there.
No. You're making your own fan fiction there.
Oh yeah, that was the point.
And then Ted and Beard kiss deeply. No,
that happened.
Yeah, tell me more. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So we get another box here, right? We get the we talked about this box earlier.
Yeah.
We get Ted and his care package from his son.
That's
with the fucking army men, which
so
are
great.
Quickly established, but then very quickly thrown away. They're there to keep him.
They do kind of come back though every now and again.
Every now and then,
and it turns out that Rebecca kept.
Yeah,
she throws it away, but then she fishes it off the floor, which makes it all the more bare. But he's like, there's a picture in here, and we haven't got enough of those, so that's just for me. And it's Ted going through, he's brought that box to work to unpack in front of her.
To kind of have that again, to have that support system, maybe because he's really, really depressed just doing it on his own. So he wants because obviously when he's on his own in the flat, he's a very different Ted, isn't he?
He is, but I genuinely think he brought that box there deliberately to unpack it in front of her to show that
I think
simplest things can make you happy.
I do think you're right, but I think as well there's another kind of underlying bit where it's maybe Ted didn't want to do that on his own because he wanted to kind of share the joy with someone else.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But there's a really lovely moment in that where he gets the barbecue sauce out, and he licks a bit off his finger, and then he goes, "Do you ever have something that takes you back to like home?" And she like, for a second, she looks at the biscuits, and Ted catches her, and
he does,
and he doesn't say anything, and he kind of realizes it's almost like Ted's realizing, okay, that's the key to like get through to her. If I keep making her these every morning,
gotta break her down every day.
Eventually she's gonna like feel kind of like less hostile towards me and a bit more kind of like I'm not your enemy here, I'm your friend.
I will say at this point she is still vehemently against Ted. Because Ted bitter. At this point goes to a this is the lion and panda payoff.
Mm-hmm.
So Keely is now a lion hawking is it vanilla vodka?
Caffeinated vodka.
Caffeinated. I thought the vanilla vodka would have been a nice tie-in, but okay. And like it's Keely doing photo shoots. I guess that's what Keely does at this point. That's how she makes her money. But Ted sits and talks with her and treats her as a human being rather than like meat.
Well, it's even like when he shows up and she's genuinely like surprised to see him, and she's just like, "Let's go get some food. Like I'll go on my break now." Sort of thing. Like,
and Ted says, "Do we have to pay for it?"
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think like, Ted got paid throughout any of this.
But it's again, it's like she can see the good in Ted of just like he's literally gone to her because she knows Jamie better than him, and she's going to be able to help him. But also, it's like just a nice kind of like gesture for him to just kind of go, "Oh yeah, like should we go like this? Like should we go have some lunch and talk about it?" As opposed to that.
And Rebecca sent him there because it's all part of her plan.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
So yeah, they have this incredibly good heart-to-heart conversation. And there's a paparazzi
hired by Rebecca.
Sniping pictures. Hired by Rebecca. Hired by Higgins under the name of Rebecca at richmond.footballclub.uk. Because she literally says, "Did you hide it?" And he went, "No." But yeah, we got. If I had like fake leather mitts on my hands that were all hairy, and someone was feeding me burgers, I don't mean I want to do a sex on them.
The thing is though as well, it's like it shows how kind of like out of context like a lot of pictures like that can be, because it's literally Ted's feeding her a burger because she's got like makeup and shit on her hands, so she can't like.
And they're having like the funnest conversation.
They are.
And he's literally just wiping a bit of sauce off her face.
Like how
and they took a picture, making it look like
how their lives are so different but so the same. They're under constant scrutiny, and it's a really beautiful thing to see. But obviously, Rebecca was going to use this as fuel to get him fired.
Oh, and we're not there yet because we're not in the. It's I think it's episode 3 or 4, maybe 3, when Keely discovers it was her. I can't remember, and she bursts into her office when no one would speak like that to her before, and Keely was very hurt. I don't remember what episode it was. We'll get there eventually.
It's a bit later.
Yeah,
I think at the end of this one. I think at the end of this one is where
it's not
Higgins,
this one.
Higgins is like, do you want to send the pictures?
Yes, absolutely.
That's how it ends.
Higgins is trying to again be like the kind of like more like the angel on the shoulder to Rebecca.
Yeah,
and like he's very much like Rebecca's moral compass, and he's trying to talk her out of it because he realizes how like destructive it's going to be to two innocent parties. Like at the end of the day, it's all it's going to do is cause friction in the club. But
absolutely,
it's gonna affect like Ted and Keely's personal lives in a way that Rebecca's not thinking about because she's still seeing red.
She's still so angry.
Yeah.
Well, so because I'm curious what you guys think about this next bit. When they get to their first game and it's Crystal Palace, there's no time spent on this game. There's no gameplay. There's no highlights. There's nothing because this show is
I think
not
you'll find
about
that Crystal
football.
Palace are quick on the outside.
Yes, that's all you got. Yeah,
Bid
Crystal
reiterates that
Palace
several times.
because the show is not about football. This show is not about the game. It could have been any game they were playing in the world. It wouldn't have mattered because the show's not about the game.
Yeah, I love I love that. Literally, it just shows at the end Roy like dropping to his knees and punching the floor, and then the score. Yeah, and to be honest, like I like what I really like about this show with the football stuff. It only shows stuff from matches when it's really important.
Fair, yeah.
Like this is it's Ted's first game, so you could argue it's important, but it's a largely inconsequential game.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to see like Jamie, and that literally falls into like when they're saying, "Oh yeah, Jamie scored the last minute of the game." It didn't matter.
Do we not get Ted walking out to the chants of wanker right at the crowd though as well?
Yes,
we do. Yeah, we get Ted walking out, and then like Ted going, "Well, how bad could it be?" And then like the end, the final whistle. But again, it just sums up like the whole kind of thing where they're saying
you have to hit rock bottom before you can.
Well, it's more about the kind of like trying to like get the team on the same page than it is about the results right now, which is largely like that's pretty much like rule number one for any manager in any sport. Like you want to get the team working together before you even focus on results. Obviously, it's a very results driven thing.
Well, that's
so
not a very British thing, is it? You want results now.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. But then a lot of the more successful managers you see who are given like a bit of time, they go in and they're like, it's not about results, it's about building on it, like building something first and then.
Well, to your point, when he's trying to get the players together, they give Sam his birthday cake, tells him happy birthday. The players have given him gifts. He gets a bag of chin chin. Is a Nigerian snack made with a combination of flour, sugar, butter, or margarine and milk. But there's some optional ingredients such as ground nutmeg, baking powder, and eggs. I'm sold.
They look good.
They do, don't they?
Obasinya's story arc is one of those things that made me really, really happy.
Yeah.
And the fact that they like this is when you can see it start to happen.
Yeah.
The fact that they put money in, and it wasn't them that went out and bought the chin chin. It was probably fucking Nate who went and did it, right?
Yeah, there was the two other Nigerian players, wasn't there? Because he like
that's true.
Sam turns to them and goes, "Oh, thanks guys," to them.
Yeah.
Because he feels like as well they're the only ones who would have put in.
But they all have this big old pie. They get the cake out, like Sam is so thank you, like cause you're 1,000 miles from home.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you don't think anyone's going to make a big deal of it.
How about Sam?
This is where you start to see this bit. So this bit of Ted Lasso magic sort of work its way in.
Oh,
because, yeah. And he goes upstairs and he says to Higgins and Rebecca, "It would mean a lot if you came down." And he gives them some cake, and Higgins just eats the cake because he's a dirty boy.
He's like, "This is delicious," and he's like getting it all over him. Yeah. Oh man,
I love it as well.
As they're leaving as well, Jamie Tart leaves, and he tries to bite his tongue for a second.
Well, there's the bit where, because obviously Keely says to Ted, like, he reacts really well to positive reinforcement.
He
So
does.
Ted like brings him in. He's like, "You're one of the best athletes I've ever like trained, and you're really good. The thing stopping you from being great is that you're too focused on the me and not focused on the us." And you can see Jamie really takes it to heart. He's like, "Yeah,
does.
I'll work on that." And then as
does
soon
nothing
as,
with it.
and then he walks out because he's like, it's like he feels he's above the whole team like bonding, and he doesn't see the importance of the fact that
Everyone else is into it.
Yeah, he like fair enough they've lost, but the whole point of
That day was
like
just
them
to
doing
celebrate
that
Sam's
was
fucking birthday.
to help Sam like settle in and
be
to
part
get
of that
everyone
team.
like feeling like a team. And the fact that he walks out, it shows that he's not grown enough to kind of he's not taking on board what Ted said at all. And
No.
even when Trent goes to him and says, "Oh yeah, if you got anything to say about that loss," and he says, "Yeah, you know, we're a team." There's a really good line Ted says actually to him where he says, "You're 1 in a million, but on that pitch, you're 1 of 11."
It's great.
And
great line.
Jamie literally repeats that to Trent, and he walks away, and he's like, he kind of like just, you can see he's really like bitter that he's had to say that. He's really annoyed that he's had to say that. And he goes, "You know what? They're all eating cake in there. They're all having a good time. We've just lost the game and they're all celebrating." And it shows on one side that Jamie's like really competitive and to a degree that he does care. But then on the other that he's still like, well, they should be better. They should be better for me because I am the star.
And we got to mention the bit where Roy throws down the water bottle and says, "That was fucking embarrassing." And then Nate says, "I am equally livid," and elbows the glass. And he immediately goes, "Oh my God."
I love the way Roy goes, "Good lad."
Good lad. Yeah. Oh my God.
And you just see Ted in the background going, "What the fuck, Nate?"
Yeah. Oh. When they bring the cake in and everything and they're celebrating and they put on music, we gotta mention it's award tour by Tribe Called Quest. It's from the Midnight Marauders album. We've covered Tribe on the 6M podcast, by the way.
Fucking banger. If you've never heard album. Midnight Marauders, go find it. It's on
so
Spotify.
Good.
It's not as good as listening to it on vinyl, but life is what it is.
He wants him to come down and have cake, and Rebecca says, "Under one condition, you tell me where you got the biscuits." And all he goes, "Well," and he won't tell her because again, that ruins it if he tells her that he's making it.
If I tell you where they come from, I can't come and speak to you on Monday.
There you go. No more biscuits with the boss.
And the episode ends, but it leaves so much stuff there. Like we know Ted is making. Doesn't it not actually cut to Ted making the biscuits?
Making them, yeah.
It does at the end, yeah.
So he's putting his heart and soul into these things, which is what this needs. It's so. We're only 2 episodes in, man, and literally we said that these are going to be an hour apiece, and we've gone way over.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's just watching it is quicker than digesting. You digest it after you watch it, don't you? Because after you watch, you go,
I know, but
there's so much kind of like nuance though, like within everything they do, like little tiny like seemingly inconsequential things that end up foreshadowing something much bigger that'll happen down the line.
Yeah.
And obviously this is like kind of laying the groundwork for all of that, which is why I feel like we've spoke as long as we have.
That's fine. Like,
I think it's fine. I think it's great.
I've enjoyed every moment of this. Like I said, it's getting to talk to people about Ted Lasso in the way I want to like dismantle it piece by piece.
There's so much to unpack here, man. You can't do it in 20, 30 minutes. It's not possible. I don't know how anybody would do it. Because you wouldn't get anything from it.
But yes, wrap it up.
So, real quick, we see in the end that Rebecca may have flipped a switch for Ted, but then she sees on the television the girl that supposedly has been with Rupert for the last 5 years, and it just reminds her why she did this to begin with. So she tells Higgins to do it, and then throws the army man on the floor and leaves it there. So,
but we know she picks that up again, and it comes back. Doesn't it?
It does come back.
But
so
at this point, I guess like my takeaway point of this is that just break people down with your politeness.
Yeah.
With your like, never let nothing faze you. Because you'll get to the soul of that person. Quickly.
Yeah, well, one thing with certainly in the earlier episodes as well, with Rebecca and Jamie, that I've noticed is when they seem to be coming around to Ted, there's always something that kind of like triggers them to then go, you know what, I'm just gonna like destroy this trust I've got with them. Like, it shows that there's still work to be done to get to them, as you say, Joe. Don't like give up on them. Don't like kind of persevere. And it shows no matter how bad a thing they can do, like Ted knows if he perseveres, he's going to end up getting the best out of them.
Because he's done this before. He likely did this maybe with every coaching gig he ever had, because his way, the Lasso way, is not necessarily everybody's way, but he brings them around to his way of thinking. So,
I mean, not wanting to give a big old end out to this thing, but all you've got to do is believe.
Oh, stop it. Why you keep doing that stuff? Man, that's really good. That's really good.
Oh, because I'm a consummate professional, mate. I've been doing this for fucking years.
I can't do much better.
You want to retake that as all of us?
Oh, no, I think you nailed it. I'm not going to steal this. We'll go back to the stealing thunder.
Oh, no. Every week on week, you could gradually add the voices
that
in.
That can be the growth that eventually at the end we all say
we're all in harmony.
Time.
We're all in harmony. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll Ted Lasso the devil out of this.
It's a marathon, not a string.
The most fun I've had in a long time.
Marathon.
Talking about something that I love with people that I have loved and grown to love.
Well, I tell you, that's why this guy podcast, Jay will tell you that. I come from the Kevin Smith School of Podcasting, where I don't make shows to get famous. I don't make shows to make money. Those things would be fun. Don't get me wrong. But I make shows that I make the kind of content that I would like to hear with people that are smart and funny and enjoy what they talk about. So that's why I'm doing this. So there you go.
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
There you go. Well, there you have it, kids. There's episode number 2. Way more to come. We've only got 32 left, and we'll be done with the show.
Christ.
I know. It'll be over like that. Hang in there. We'll get there.
Okay.
For Joe and Jay, I'm Tom. We will see you next time, kids. Stay tuned.
Believe.